Hello, this is Bob from Up Trail 71, and in this video I'm going to show you how I set up my hammocks under quilt to keep me warm at night. I started using a hammock in 2015 and I've been using it ever since then, except for the last 2 years that we've been using a tent a lot more. That's for a specific reason. But anyway, we'll dive into it and I'll start showing you what I do. Okay, first you want to attach your under quilt onto your hammock line here, and you want to center it. It's all adjustable. Make sure you spread this apart a little bit so it's a small opening and your body will fit right in and it forms into your hammock. Same on this end. It's about centered, close. And this hammock under quilt also has these clips built in my Daring Dream hammock. They work okay, but they do work their way off. Many times a night I had a little bit of trouble, so I came up with a new solution. And I did watch many videos when I first started using a hammock, and then I thought of this idea on my own. What I'm going to do is take my excess shock cord from my hammock gear under quilt. I'm going to go right over the top of my ridge line and I'll tie it up here. It'll keep it secure. Now I have my under quilt secured to the ridge line, and I use a slip knot. You don't want to use like a double knot. You may not be able to get it back off, or you don't want to cut it. Or you can use something like this, a zip line. You could tie it on to an area on your under quilt and wrap right over the top. But so far, for the last 6 years I've been doing this. This has worked good. And the next step is you want to make sure you adjust your under quilt right over to the foot box side. This is my foot box side right here. You want to adjust it a little bit so it forms into there, because that's the way you're going to be sleeping, a little bit on an angle. In the past, many times I'd just have my under quilt, when you're sleeping in the middle of the night, slip off and actually sometimes come up right alongside the hammock. So this solution has worked very good for me. Now I'll go on the other end and I'm going to do the same. And I'll adjust this side to where my head end is. So I just pull it up here a little bit. And you can see nice and snug right here, so you don't have air seeping through. You don't want your quilt so tight that it compresses and you lose your warmth. But this looks perfect right here. Now for the inside of my hammock, what I use, I have my top quilt right here. This is a 20 degree. And it's cool out here today. This is in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. It's 50 degrees out right now. It's going to get down to 30 tonight. Possibly in the upper 20s. Now my sit pad, you're wondering why I would have this in here. Well, sometimes you'll find a cold spot. And usually my right arm and elbow area. And I'll tuck that right there. As far as my feet go, I know these aren't the most pretty looking things, but these are down booties. I got this from zpacks. They're not cheap. I think they ran around $60, but they work good and they keep my feet warm. And I got my Sea to Summit pillow. That keeps my head warm. And this method has worked excellent for me for the last 6 years. And I would highly recommend someone who's having problems getting cold, sleeping at night, to give it a try. Because it works for me, it's possible it could work for you also. And one more question I get often is about winter camping. Should you use a hammock without a bug net or with one? In my opinion, I'd highly recommend using one, especially if it's snowy out. And this is the reason why. Now, on my winter trips in the past, this bug net helped a lot with the blowing snow. It'll stop, well, at least I'd say 85% of snow from coming in and hitting you. You'll get very fine particles maybe, but that saves you a lot from getting your under quilt and top quilt all wet. Well, your under quilt, you could have a under quilt protector. You can order one of them if you wanted, but I've never used one yet. So a bug net in the winter, and also helps keep some of the wind off. So it does help for sure. And now I'm all tucked into my hammock. My feet are in what makes a foot box area in this Daring Dream hammock. And I don't feel any cold underneath my feet. Of course, I'll have my quilt, I'll be inside my quilt here and top quilt, and I'll have my down booties on. So I'll feel no cold in my feet. My arms feel good. That's a Dutch sit pad I use, foam one. And on the head end here, I'm all nice and comfortable, warm. Got my pillow. And now, boy, I don't want to leave this area. I'd like to just take a nap and relax. I hope this video helps somebody. And thanks for watching Up Trail 71.